Yo, what's going on, man? Today is the 10th of June. This is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA Show / WNBA Show. We only have one WNBA game for today. I did make a video last night uh, breaking down the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun game, which is the only game that we have on the board for today between WNBA and NBA. But I wanted to talk about some WNBA, well, one WNBA game I want to dive into for tomorrow to try so we can try to get ahead. Then I also want to talk about Game 3 of the NBA Finals, so we can review Game 2, talk about what happened last night, and look ahead to Game 3. Try to get some early lines before the series heads to Dallas in Game 3. So, real quick, yesterday recap. Not the greatest day when you look at the overall picks. I didn't lose too many units. The WNBA was good to me. We had Phoenix +1. We had the Sparks +15. They ended up winning the game outright. Seattle ended up having a nice lead at halftime, and Lynx came back and smoked them. And then very frustrating in the NBA. So Dallas team total over 104.5. I think they might have missed 10 free throws. Easily could have got to 105 plus the 6.5. Of course, they lose the game by 7. And missed foul call, whatever you want to call it. I think the Dallas money line was the only one that shouldn't have probably hit, but they were smaller plays, super small plays. Of course, broke the units up, and that's why you do so. So 2 and 4 day overall, we lose about, we didn't even lose a quarter of a unit. So I'll take that. All the numbers on the right-hand side are updated as well. Let's go. Let's see if anybody, before we get into the game, let's see what we got in the comment section real quick. Paul says, good morning, Chris. Happy Monday. I'm glad I stayed off the NBA too, bro. Feels like Porzingis got in there and threw off the whole equation. Let's get another W. Definitely trying to win. Mom is just the best. It's happy Monday. Crispy heating up in the WNBA. Look out. Yeah, WNBA has been good. It's been really good. NBA Finals, not so much. That Washington and Indiana game, well, Washington and New York game, I said over 50, 157, 158.5. Easy winner that I stayed off of as well, and the plus 13.5 cash with the Mystics also. What up, Rob? Appreciate you for being here this morning. AOD, appreciate you for being here. Reminding people to hit the like button. My guy Justin in here, Eric in here. How about a cup of Joe says first quarter aces spread and that Liberty over. He cashed both of them. What up to my guy Derek says what up though, Chris? Seattle game went under. Glad you cashed that. Phoenix plus the spread. Yeah. Rob says gentleman sweep incoming. Absolutely. What up to my guy Mark in the chat? And Ball Hawk, what up, bro? Hope all is well with you, man. I'll see you soon. If you're gonna be outside, I'll see you soon. I'm about to be outside again. Shout out to my guy Ball Hawk. All right, cool. And then one more comment real quick before we jump into it. Cash says, thanks for the live yesterday. You put my mind at ease with the over points on the Liberty game. Glad you cashed it. The market definitely was going in the opposite direction, but sometimes you gotta go with what you know. And I thought that game was going to be an over game, pretty easy over game. I didn't even play it. All right, so let's jump into Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun. Like I said, this game will be played today in Connecticut. So this line is actually down to 11. Total actually came down too. So when I did the recording last night, this line was sitting at what you see. It was sitting at 12. So money coming in on Indiana, and then total also coming back down to 159.5. And I said this in the video last night, but this line actually open. If you can hit DraftKings early, you want to. If you think you got the right side, you want to get in on DraftKings early, to the point where they end up limiting the amount that you can bet, because this Fever team was getting 8.5, and the line moved 4.5 points all the way to 3.5 points all the way to 12. Like I said, and total, got bet up, and now it's getting bet down as well. So injury-wise, I talked about this last night. I'm not going to go into a deep dive of the game. You can just go back and watch the video from last night. But Timmy Fong-Bagley will not be out there for the Fever. She is their best post defender, in my opinion, by far. And then on the Connecticut side, you are waiting for Mariah Jefferson as well. This Fever team is not great defensively, man. I pointed this out last night in the video, but you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, 12th in defensive in net rating. They're the worst defensive team in the WNBA. and you're playing against the first team in defensive rating. And their offense also stinks. They're ninth in offensive rating. We know that the Fever, they will get it together eventually. Melissa Smith, Aaliyah Boston, of course, Caitlin Clark. They got some, some young talent. You're not going to play well on the road against the Connecticut Sun, in my opinion, especially with the Connecticut Sun. When we talk about situationally, they didn't have to travel at all. It's the last game of a 3-game homestand. I think they go to Chicago coming up next, that being the Sun. But they just came off the first loss of the season. You can see that their record 9-1 straight up. They're only 4-6 against the number, but something tells me they're gonna be super fired up for this game. I wouldn't even say super fired up. I just think that the way that they lost to the Mystics in a game that they probably felt like they should have won, they had a lead late in that game on Saturday. And I think they'll be fired up for that. I'm not trusting the Fever. I trusted the Fever on Friday. They did win the game for me. But boy, you talking about a sweat when they were in DC playing against the Mystics. It was tough, man. So we did end up winning that bet, but I'm jumping right back off the Fever train, and I'm only looking to fade them in this spot. 11 points is a lot. I absolutely agree that. I get that. I agree with the movement coming down. What I don't agree with is the total coming down, though. And I talked about this. So for the Fever, 2 days rest, last game of a 3-game road trip. Of course, they just played against the Mystics the other day. And you can see that their numbers as well. 3-9 straight up, 5-7 against the numbers so far this season. This is a pretty good offense, number 4, versus the worst defense in the WNBA. So I'm not going to overthink this one, man. Connecticut has major matchup advantages. They've already beaten this Fever team twice. They've actually beat them 10 times in a row, but they beat them twice this season. Opening night, they scored 92 points and gave up 71 to the Fever. The Fever have had a chance to, get some chemistry and camaraderie since then. But in game 2, when they played in when they played in Indiana beat them 88-84 as well. And they were laying 5.5 points in that game, and they didn't cover the spread. But in game 1, of course, went under. Game 2, of course, went over. Here's the reason why I don't necessarily agree with the money coming in on the under. Is because, in my opinion, and somebody asked me about this in the comment section, on the comment section of the video last night, do I think that Connecticut is going to slow Indiana down, or do I think that Indiana is going to speed Connecticut up? Now, Connecticut can dictate pace, but I don't think they have a problem running faster in this spot. And it's indicative of the first 2 games that's been played between these 2 teams in the regular season. The Connecticut Sun scored, like I said, 92 points in the first game. They only gave up 71. And then they scored 88 points in the second game. Their team total, like I mentioned last night, is sitting at 85.5. I'm not sure. Well, I would almost go out on a limb and say that I don't think the Fever are going to be able to slow Connecticut down. And then when you get into the X's and O's, just really quickly, I talked about this last night in the video as well. Connecticut takes the second most shots in the paint. They're not a team that shoots a lot of 3-pointers. Second most shots in the restricted area, but they're converting just 56% of those shots, which is the actually second worst conversion rate in the WNBA. That's the Connecticut offense that's 9-1 straight up, converting at the second worst rate on shots in the paint. Here's the advantage that they have. You look at the Indiana Fever defense. Aaliyah Boston is pretty good offensively. She still, got a lot to work on defensively. I mentioned Timmy Bagley not being there. There's a major advantage there because Indiana allows teams to convert at the 3rd highest percentage in the paint. So Bree Jones should be able to get whatever it is that she wants. Alyssa Thomas should be able to get whatever it is that she wants. DeWanna Bonham, when she wants to get downhill, should be able to get whatever it is that she wants. Same for Dejanay Carrington. And they should shoot a higher percentage. And they have in the first 2 games, which is why I just would go team total over in this spot. Indiana, they have a 109.6 defensive rating, which is dead last. With Connecticut coming off that loss, I think they'll bounce back big in this spot. I mentioned Connecticut's already going over this total of 85.5 in both games so far this season. Indiana's defense is actually the worst in the W on the road as well. And it's not just their defensive rating, but they stink at being able to stop above the break threes, opponent restricted area percentage, opponent mid-range percentage, and 5 of their 7 opponents have actually scored 90-plus points on the road. So I rest my case for Connecticut team total over. I haven't locked it in yet, but that's what I'll be on in this game. Just want to make sure we don't have any funny business going on with the injury report. I also like Indiana, also like Connecticut in the first half. You can get some 6.5s out there, but I do see 7 popping up as well. All right, let's see what you guys are thinking about this one before we push it on. Let's see. How about a couple of Josephs? I'm not touching the NBA Finals. Boston games have treated me wrong all year. Just watching. I might be done with that too, man. I do think we'll talk about the game. We'll talk about it in a second. Hendry says, read that Caitlin told her coach they have awakened a beast from not just being selected USA. Her points in play. I would say no. I know she had a really good matchup. If you want Caitlin Clark's points, you wanted them in the last game, in my opinion. Caitlin Clark, she went off. I think she hit 7 threes. She had 30 points. That was against a Washington defense that ranks, really, pretty much second to last. The Washington Mystics and the Indiana Fever are tit for tat for the worst defense in the WNBA. Against the Connecticut Sun, you go through and look at the numbers. I know she struggled in that first game against Dejanay Carrington. I want to say she struggled in the second game as well, but I could be wrong. I'm not interested in playing against the number 1 defense in the WNBA. I know Dejanay is going to be draped all over her, and I don't trust Christy Sykes to put Caitlin Clark in positions to be successful quite yet. I don't like the Indiana Fever's offense at all, especially late game execution against the Washington Mystics. I watched that whole game the other day. Did not like the way that they closed that game, and I would not be betting on Caitlin Clark points to go over today. Jamie says he likes the Sun first quarter team total over 22.5, -110 over on Bet365. Yeah, I think they could be able to score as well. I will say this: they have had slow first quarters, and then they picked it up in the second quarter. If you just look at their full slew of, if you break them down by quarter, I'm not sure why Connecticut has not been a strong team in the first quarter. Even against the New York Liberty the other day, they were down with double digits at the end of the first quarter, and then they came back in the second quarter. So for whatever reason, they played better in the second quarter than they have in the first quarter. Raptors fans at the top of the morning, Chris. Kelsey Plum had me nervous, but she came through and cashed for me. Looking forward to your looks for today's game. Yeah, I watched that game last night too, especially after Boston and India in Dallas went off. Man, LA actually looked really, really good. I said plus 15. I would play it down to 13, 12.5 maybe. They won the game outright yesterday. Vegas struggling right now, and until they get a healthy roster, I mean they're gonna continue to struggle. I think they've lost 4 games out of their first 9, which is crazy. And you can actually, I was looking at this yesterday. You can get the Aces at plus money to win the championship right now. They're still the favorite, but you can get them at plus money, which is a little bit crazy to me, especially if you think Chelsea Gray's coming back and will play well when she returns. Mark says, I love how early these shows are. Appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you tapping in, Mark. Definitely appreciate that. Josh says, I was thinking the same. Team total over. Yeah, it's the only way I'm looking. The Majestic Mike says, first time they played was the first game of the season. Second time was in Indy. That was much closer. I don't think the Sun win 3 in a row, but I'll take the points and consider the game over. So if you like the points and you like the over, to me that says that you like the Fever team total to go over. And I want to say that number is 73.5. It looks like it's the best number, -120 on DK, 74.5 everywhere else. What I'll say about this comment though, Majestic Mike, is you said I don't think the Sun win 3 in a row. So in the WNBA, a lot of the times if a team owns you, they own you, and there's nothing that you really doing about it. Also, I forgot I bought this up too. I bought this up. I wanted to share this too. But to this comment, they've won 10 in a row, Majestic Mike. So it's not like, they gonna split, they gonna not lose another game. They've already won 10 games in a row dating back to probably 4 years ago. And that's how the WNBA works. It's the same. It's like that for a lot of teams. You get owned by a team, you just get owned by them. Same thing. So we're gonna talk about the Mystics in the Atlanta Dream. And the Dream own the Mystics too. They beat them like 5 times in a row. So take whatever it is that you like, but I just want to make sure you understood that. What's up to my guy Bitsy? Justin says moving on the Connecticut team total over 85.5 after the show. Yeah, I think it's going to end up moving up. I see a 115 right now over on FanDuel, but I do think this is going to move to 86.5. Jamie says if the Fever are going to take the next step, they need to get a different coach, going a different coach, going a different direction for a different coach. When they hired her, they didn't think Caitlin Clark would be a possibility, and I agree with that. I think Chris. I'm not saying Chrissy Sykes is a bad coach. I just think she got a lot of eyes on her with all the attention that Caitlin Clark is garnering, and Chrissy Sykes has fell into a couple really good draft picks in the WNBA as well. So Patrick says Chris need a winner today. Need a win today. I need a win every day. Every day. TJ says LA looked good yesterday. Dream was right that he wouldn't be surprised if the Sparks won. Hopefully the Aces get healthy. They have a big game tomorrow. Today I like the team total only. Yeah, I'm with you there. Cup says, how do you feel about that Fever team total over? I'm not playing the team total to go over against the number one rated defense in the WNBA coming off a loss. That's as easy as it is for me to make that case, Cup of Joe. I'm not looking to fade the Connecticut Sun defense. It wouldn't surprise me at all. They scored 90 points and held the Fever to 72, honestly. Like, we've seen this show before. What up, 3-time? Majestic Mike says, appreciate the insight. All right, let's keep pushing. So this I didn't keep this up. I'm not going to keep this up right here, this graphic up. But if you guys are interested, this is the Connecticut Sun offense versus the Indiana Fever defense. And you see all the green over here on the left side. You see all the red or pink on the right side. So that pink is, defensive rating for the Indiana Fever. You see that they force the second fewest turnovers. They foul at the second highest rate. They give up the second most second chance points. They give up the most fast break points. They give up the third most points in the paint. So, yeah, I think Connecticut is able to score the basketball. And then on the right side, that's the shot zones. That's Connecticut offense versus the Indiana Fever defense. What I was referencing earlier is right. Let's see if I can pull it up. What I was referencing earlier is right here. Right here. So this is Connecticut. They struggle to score in the restricted area. They take the second most shots and make the second most shots, but they only shoot it at the 11th. They only convert at the 11th highest percentage. But if you go over here, look at the Fever defense. They're allowing teams to shoot 64% in the restricted area. So I think that's going to be a major spot for Connecticut to be able to score the basketball here today. Hopefully that's helpful for you guys. All right, let's keep pushing. Next game up. This is one game I wanted to look ahead to for tomorrow. We got the Mystics and the Atlanta Dream. This line is sitting at 7.5, pretty much everywhere in the total, sitting at 155.5. We also got the Minnesota Lynx tomorrow. They will be in Vegas, getting 8 points tomorrow against the Las Vegas Aces. Then we also got the Los Angeles Sparks. They will be in Seattle. They're getting 10 points. I saw that line open at 3 on DraftKings. It's all the way up to 10 now. It was super quick movement. Seattle, laying double digits as a home favorite tomorrow against the Los Angeles Sparks. All 4 teams, of course, played yesterday as well. So we'll dive into those games. I didn't want to go into Minnesota and Vegas because I have no idea what's going to happen with Jackie Young. But if she's not playing, I think I'm taking the 8 points with the Lynx. But I'll have to dive into the game a little bit more. I did want to dive into this one though. So Mystics and the Dream. So of course the Mystics, 1 day of rest because they'll rest today. Use today as a travel day. They did end up losing yesterday, but covered that spread. Covered it pretty easy. Their offense seems like their bench is actually playing a little bit better. They were able to keep that game close, almost won. Ariel Atkins shot the ball really, really well yesterday. And their bench in general, Hans Allen off the bench, Walker Kimbrough, like they played a pretty solid game yesterday. So you get the Mystics. This will be a 4th game in 6 nights, however, so that's not the greatest spot. But like I said, they'll be coming off 1 day's rest, whereas the Atlanta Dream will have 2 days rest because they beat the Chicago Sky on Saturday. And this is a one-off home game before they go back on the road. So Dream has been home, road. This will be home, and then they'll go back on the road again. Not the greatest spot to want to back a team. And then you see the seasonal numbers as well. Washington is the only team that has not won a game so far. They have kept them close, though, 6-5-1 against the number. And I said this on yesterday's show. I think they've only lost 3 games of their 12 losses by double digits. So am I interested in laying 7.5 points with the Atlanta Dream? Absolutely not. Dream have been extremely inconsistent. I know they got a big win against the Chicago Sky the other day, but do they overlook this Mystic team? Potentially. You can see their numbers there. This is a pretty mediocre team. 5-4 straight up, 4-5 against the number. They have been playing against some really good competition before they played against the Chicago Sky. So I guess you can give them some points for that. Mystics, 12th and worst offensive rated team, second worst defensive rated team, second worst in net rating. But the Atlanta Dreams offense has actually been terrible as well. 11th in offensive rating for them. They have been playing some pretty good defense, and they're 7th in net rating as well. This is a difficult game. I think if I had to play it, I didn't play anything yet. If I had to play anything, oh yeah, my fault. Yeah, Justin, you're right. I messed that up. Let me change that. I got them listed as a dog. They are laying 7.5 points as home favorites. My fault about that. Let me change that. All right. So laying 7.5 points. Yeah, I don't know how I did that. Yeah, the Mystics definitely not laying points. So how I kind of feel like the Atlanta Dream have been getting off the really, really slow starts. For whatever reason. I'm not 100% sure why. They did get off to a fast start against Chicago, but they probably come out, in my opinion, lax here, especially against the Mystics team that hasn't won a game yet. And the Mystics have continued to play really, really hard. No idea if Shakira Austin's going to be a part of this game, but you would love to have her be a part. Brittany Sykes, of course, is still without a timetable. They might not even bring her back. The Mystics will, in my opinion, continue to keep games close early. I think that they covered really easily, getting 15 points, 15.5 in the game yesterday. And if they can do that against the Atlanta Dream, I think if they can do that against the Liberty, I think they can definitely do it against this against this Dream team. So I think the first half, because they tend to run out of gas, they are the worst fourth quarter team. I think it's a better look. You can get a 4.5 right now, a plus 4.5 for the Mystics, just because they play their best basketball at home. Whereas the Dream, typically, they need the second half to play better basketball outside of that game in Chicago. So Mystics first half, plus 4.5 would be my top look in this game. Mystics first half plus the 4.5. I haven't played it yet. Like I said, this game doesn't even happen until tomorrow. I don't think the line's gonna move that much. Hopefully, money comes in on the Atlanta Dream and we get an even better line with the Mystics. But they're gonna continue to fight hard, in my opinion. I like the Mystics plus the 4.5 in the first half. Right now, you can get that number on Bet365. Got a plus 4.5 at plus 115 if you guys are interested. But like I said, I want to wait for the injury report. Shakira Austin comes in, I'm definitely jumping on. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. Let's see. TJ reminded people, he says, make sure we press that like button, folks. I know it's Monday and it's only one game. Let's help Chris out today. He woke up early just to get his thoughts out on today's game. Absolutely did that. Appreciate that, TJ. TC Bet says the Sparks were looking great last night. Rickea Jackson going to be nice on both ends of the floor. Yeah, I like Rickea Jackson a lot. I watched her post-game interview. Rickea Jackson, funny, man. She's nice. I mean, Sparks got a lot of young talent on that team, man. They really, really do. I don't know how interested I am taking the 10 with laying the 10 with the Storm tomorrow, but I got to dive into it. Let's see. Peaches says, take the Mystics first quarter. They're fighting for that win. Absolutely. I think first half too. I think first half is even better than first quarter. You get a bigger number, and I don't think the Mystics are losing by multiple possessions at the end of the first half. TJ says Mystics continue to cover the spread. Peaches said they covered yesterday versus New York easily first quarter in the first half. Says they want to win bad, and I agree. 0-12 is not a good look. I absolutely agree. What up to my guy Sai? What up to my guy Chad in the chat as well? Justin says he'll be on the Dream. He'll be on his Dream. And TJ says it's 4 now on DraftKings. I like the 4.5 though. Yeah, DraftKings I see a 4. Bet Rivers I see a 4.5. Really just depends on where you're shopping. I see a 3.5 on ESPN Bet right now, but it's juiced. And like I said, Bet365 got the best number right now. 4.5 plus 115. Let's see. Chad says that Mercury game was sweeter than 2 mice. I can't keep this comment up, man. Oh, man. Yeah, that sweatier. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Shout out to the Mercury for getting the job done. But boy, them turnovers was crazy. All right. That's how I feel about the Mystics. Like I said, first half plus the 4.5 is if I had to play it at all. All right, so now we get an early look towards Boston. This is one thing I haven't been doing. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna play the finals, but play game 3. But let's talk about it. So we got the Celtics and the Mavs. We got the Mavs. They opened, I think, as 1-point favorites. Money came in to take it to 1.5. I saw some 2s pop up. Now I see all the 2s gone. Back down to 1.5 in favor of the the home team, Dallas Mavericks. And total continued to drop. It opened at 230. I think I saw 213.5. Went down to 212.5. Now back up to 213, 212. So it really just depends. You honestly, whatever you like, you just want to take probably just take the team on the money line. If you like the Mavs, I think you can get them like minus 120 on the money line for the full game. And of course, if you like the Celtics, you should be able to get a price that's close to plus money, maybe even. I wanted to switch to. I want to look at this. So, a lot of thoughts on yesterday's game. Like I said, I was on the wrong side because I did take Dallas. They had ample opportunities to close out. The one thing that's been extremely consistent, and we didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday because the news came out, of course, after, and it feels like it always does. Whenever I pick a side, we get injury news. And Luka was downgraded to questionable with some, rib, throat. I think it was throat, rib, some upper above the waist injury. Still comes out, plays really, really well. Dallas just has not been able to score the basketball consistently. You see that they shot 47.5% from the field yesterday, which is an improvement. You can see game 1 numbers and game 2 numbers. But the 3-point percentage got worse. They shot 25.9% in game 1. They shot 6 for 26 in game 2, just 23%. And for whatever reason, when the lights get the brightest, we do see teams really, really struggle to score the basketball. And this was the most frustrating thing about the team total over 104.5 yesterday, is that you really just need them to make 1-2 more threes. And it'd be nice if they could shoot better than 66% from the free throw line. They missed 8 of their 24 free throws last night. Whereas the Boston Celtics, they missed 1 free throw out of 20, shot 95% from the free throw line. Dallas kills them on not in the offensive glass, but they end up out rebounding them. Luka of course, bounces back off the 1 assist game and gets triple-double last night, gets 10 assists, even though I think his assist prop was heavily bet towards the under. Dallas does a pretty good job of protecting the basketball. 15 turnovers. You do want to bring that number down just a tad bit to be a little bit more successful, but they get what they want in the paint, score 54 points. It's just not consistent enough though. Like, I think the defenders that Boston have, I think they're definitely going to win the series, right? We talked about that. I thought that Dallas would keep these games a little bit closer though. Remember I said I thought Dallas was going to cover the spreads but not win the games. That's how I kind of felt about it. Now, I don't know, man. I just kind of feel like Dallas role players should play a little bit better at home, but Derrick Jones Jr. has been terrible. Maxi Kleber has not been good. Outside of P.J. Washington, you could argue that P.J. Washington's actually been better than Kyrie. Outside of P.J. Washington, in Luka, this team they're really, really struggling. Really, really struggling, man. I have no idea what to do with game 3. I know that there's a lot of historical trends that say you take the team that's coming back home. I looked into it last night, and I want to say I found the 6-0 spot, which was in the finals specifically, home favorites down 0-2, 6-0 straight up, and 3-2-1 against the number. They're winning by an average of 13 points per game. That says that Dallas bounces back in this spot. If you just look at teams after round 2, so omit the first round, you're a home favorite in game 3, of course, coming back home, 35-11 straight up, very strong, 76% trend says that Dallas wins this game as well. Porzingis, I forgot to mention him, kind of limped off at the end of, about 2-3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, did not return. They finished the game with Al Horford. And that is also going to be interesting to monitor. I did see something where he said that, they would have to kill him for him not to be on the floor. So I think he'll continue to try to be out there, but they're going to need him to be, the Porzingis that we saw in game 1. in order for them to, go in Dallas and get a win. Dallas has shown some resiliency and some gut, but we have not. I don't think we've seen them lose back-to-back games in the playoffs so far. Yeah. So those are my early thoughts. I think there's also, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but teams coming back home down 0-2 in the series first half. Because if you're not winning at the end of the first half, most of the time you're not going to win the game. So I look towards Dallas early. I think that first half number, when I checked it last night, was minus half a point. All the way up to 2, I think it was, on some books when I woke up this morning as well. So some money's come in on Dallas to, maybe if they don't win the game, to at least have a lead at the end of the first half, because like I said, it is just a half a point. Well, it was half a point. Now it moved to 1. Now it looks like it's 1.5. So for Dallas to have a 2-point lead, it's shaded. I mean, that's extremely shaded. That's pretty much the same thing as the full game. Yeah. So those are my early thoughts on the game. You definitely need a much better game from Kyrie Irving. Derrick Jones Jr. shot an air ball yesterday. You could just tell his confidence is not there right now. So you're going to need Dante Exum to come in and play well. Maybe even give Tim Hardaway Jr. a chance. I know he's not great defensively, but Derrick Jones Jr. offensively has been really, really bad. Maxi Kleber not being able to stretch the floor. So, Boston's doing what they do. They're loading up on Kyrie, making it really difficult. Even if he makes a shot, it's a very difficult shot. And loading up on Luka as well. And you're going to continue to need to see Luka make tremendous shots if you like the Dallas Mavericks in Game 3. Let's see what you guys are saying about the finals real quick before we jump into a recap. TJ says, I noticed that the WNBA spreads fat. I noticed that the spreads fast, especially in the beginning when they're posted, very volatile compared to other sports. Yeah, it's all about, most of the times we're getting the best number, but it just depends on what team you like. It depends on what team you like. Mark says Mavs have difficulty scoring, cost us on the over 103 yesterday. I mean, boy, I think that was the bet that felt the worst about losing, because they got to 98 and they missed 8 free throws, and they also had 15 turnovers. So that's 15 more possessions they could have had to score the basketball, and they missed a bunch of wide open shots. Like I said, 6 of 26 from the 3-point line. A lot of those were really good looks. Derek says Kyrie don't wake up. It'll be brooms for Dallas. I think he is awoke. Awoke. I think he is awake. I think, Boston, the crazy thing about Boston is, even if they're not able to knock down those threes, they can still win the game just based on how good their defense is. You can see the numbers right here. Dallas shot 41% in Game 1, 47% in Game 2, but they still couldn't make shots. And that's a shout out, a testament, in my opinion, to Boston defensively and their head coaches. I'm not a big Joe Mazzulla guy, but he's putting his team in positions to be successful for sure. Justin says, I was tight about the Mavs team total yesterday. I got the Celtics Game 1 and the series heavy. May not bet the series anymore. I can't get it right. Yeah. The 3-point variance, like we talked about, has been terrible, man. 16 3-pointers made out of 65 3-pointers attempted. Both teams shot 25% or less, and the game barely stayed under the total. That sentence right there just wraps it up. Matt says he's done with the NBA Finals until next season. He on the Celtics. Justin says I got it at 103. Still no glory. Yeah. 3 times says they're going at Luka and Kyrie on defense. Let's get the Celtics sweep so free agency can start for my 76ers. I don't think it's gonna be a sweep, but yeah. Derek says Lively has not looked good either. Yeah, he's looked like a rookie, which you kind of expect that. Shout out to my guy Ski early in the morning, 5:03 on the West Coast, man. Ski out here says he got the hook plus 7.5. Yeah, shout out to Ski. I took it early. Of course, the news came out with Luka. We took 6.5 and lost because it goes to 7. When Luka gets downgraded to questionable, it's been like that for me, man. It's been just like that for me. Mark says Mavs not playing well, missing wide open threes, free throws, turnovers, shaking my head. Yeah, and that's really what it is. They had a chance, even when they were down double digits, they had a chance to fight back. Chad says it's Mavs to nothing, but problem I see is Luka and Kyrie are the only ones that can make even a simple play. Boston has like 6 that can create that won't change. So staying off. Yeah. Also, the other thing that scares me off just a tad bit about playing the Mavericks, Boston's been the best road team in the playoffs. They have not lost the road game yet. That's a little bit scary if you want to take Dallas, especially with Dallas playing better on the road than they played at home in the playoffs. Remember, we go back and think about last series. They were able to win both games in Minnesota just to go up 2-0. They come back home, they win game 3, but then they lose game 4, and they go back on the road and smoke the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is not the Timberwolves, though. Celtics just seem like they got too many playmakers, whereas Dallas only got 2, and Boston has a lot of great defenders to be able to throw at those 2 primary guys on offense, especially if Luka's going to be compromised. But, yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens with Porzingis. Rob says got plus 9.5 with the Mavs when they went down big. First game tailed your first half spread and also cashed. I'm glad you cashed with that. Will says that was a brutal game last night. Both teams were horrendous. And Antonio says I have to take Dallas next game. Makes a lot of sense, but yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Let's get to quick recap. These are the things that we kind of talked about here for the game for today, and a couple looks. The way I'm looking for the WNBA game tomorrow that we touched about, and the Dallas first half is the way I would look if I had to play anything. But as you guys can see there, none of these are confirmed. Just kind of going through, talking the games out with myself before coming on here, talking about with you, doing the research. But that Connecticut team total over is my favorite play for today. I went through and gave a deep dive analysis around why. I also like them in the first half. I do think that they, it's a major bounce back spot off the loss to the Liberty. Not touching the full game. And then Washington, like I said, this is for tomorrow. But the Mystics will be at the Dream, and Mystics still play hard. They just run out of gas late. So Mystics first half plus the 4.5. And Dallas first half. Dallas, the Mavericks is the way that I'm looking, especially in the first half. I just think that, the shot makers that the Dallas Mavericks have, they have to start going in at home. So PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., Dante Exum, Maxi Kleber, those guys should play a little bit better at home. And also maybe we get a little bit more concerted effort from Kyrie on the offensive end as well. So that's what I got for you guys today, man. Chad says he took the Fever plus 12.5, Lynx plus 9, Storm 8.5, and got his year-to-date record up there as well. Appreciate you for tapping in, Chad. Resources, as I always say, resources that I use are here, moneyballer.com. Check them out. OddsJam.com. Check them out. You can use code CBC, get 25% off your first month if you're interested over there. Definitely by far the best sports betting software, in my opinion, on the planet. And if you guys are still watching, man, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, share the show. Let me know what you guys are betting for today. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Best of luck on all your action for today. If you guys want, my official plays, the link for those official plays is always in the description of the video. Enjoy your Monday, man, and I will catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.